Panic sets in the streets as Bitcoin plummets to 82,400. People people who don't see the charts the way that I do, don't have the eye for the Lord of liquidity. They get scared, Peter. They don't
The
understand what's happening.
the Lord of liquidity.
The Lord of liquidity,
Who's that?
it's an esoteric figure.
Oh, I see.
There's these some people think that we're real and that concepts and ideas are fake or in the realm of probability. We are the thoughts of concepts. We're the concepts. We're the ideas. And the Lord of liquidity works through us in the same way that the cells in your body work as a cohesive whole for you as a person.
Okay, so this is why we can't do 10 minute clips here because these long. Let's get to it. This Sunday Fuel, all right?
All right. So my telegrams have been blowing up. People messaging me and being like, "Is this? Did we get the cycle top? Is it done for Bitcoin?"
Okay, well, I want to talk about that, but I want you, let's to be clear, all right? Previous week, upcoming week. Don't mix them together.
The previous week, we've been calling for these moves. Let's go to the charts and take a look at the
And then
previous
after
week.
this, I want to hear how people are blowing you up and talking about the future.
Got it.
Unless they're blowing you up about the past, in which case, look, I'm your video editor. I think about everything you say in segments.
All right. Past week, blonde, brunette, redhead.
I've been looking at this chart. I have it on my screen now 24/7. I finally understand pretty much everything I'm seeing, at least 80% of what I'm seeing, and it is fantastic. Folks, if you don't have these squiggly lines on your charts, what are you even doing? Okay? This is free. Message the guy and get these squiggly lines. They're amazing.
All right, so we did a revelation of this earlier this week. You can go check that out if you want to. But the long and short here is that we had our last week started over here. And what I was saying is that the price, depending on where it closed, if it closed below this level, that we would head up into that level and fall over. And if it didn't, if it closed above it, that we would well, the idea here is that we might bounce, but that we were going to head up to this area over here. Okay? This area over here was called last week because we had our VWAP level at 87.7 and then a daily level at this is 88.2. So the price got exactly there. And because the chart is OCD, it went and grabbed the next level. And then from there, I figured that was the top. So I shorted from over here, send the signal to short from over here and over here, these two levels. And the idea is that we're going to move down almost certainly to the daily VWAP level at 84.9. Then we had the VWAP level, or the main target for that week at 84.2. Sorry, 84.050. And then one of the last nearby levels here at 82.4. So those were the three levels we were looking at from the short up here, and that's exactly what happened.
Quick question: do we have to see that chart that you have at the bottom right corner of the screen that we're hiding right now?
No.
All right. So it happened exactly the way you said it was going to happen, pretty much.
Precisely, and this is the point that matters the most within the time frame.
Right.
Because if you're going to take a 50x leverage trade, what I am an advocate for myself at least, you have to make sure, one, that you're not being liquidated, and two, that you have some idea of what invalidates that trade. When is the trade going to be actually completed or not completed? So if we got into that trade right when the week started over here, we would have gotten liquidated, right? We got liquidated when we moved up. And you might have been
short. You're saying if you got into a short at that point.
Correct. The short here is always towards the weekly volume weighted average price. It's always towards that price.
Mhm.
So I actually did take one short over here personally. And I suspected it might fail because remember I was saying it could go either way. It could fail. The issue here is that as the price moves up, taking the short again from over here and over here, I actually get to recover all that extra price. because over here, if I were to short from over here to the level, it would have been a 2% move. So that's 100% gain. But by the time it got up over here, it was a 4% move, right? And so you can take some losses as you're setting up for the big trade down to the week. And as it moves away from that level, to me, I'm even more excited. I don't feel like, oh my god, I missed the trade. Oh, the price is gonna is gonna blast through. It's gonna blast up and never come back to this level. I know that the probability is that the chart has to come back to that level, right? In the same way over here, this weekly level, when I was taking the trade, it did fail. This was 3 weeks ago. It failed here and it failed here and it failed here. Like I did fail to get back to this level. And so I took 3 trades. It didn't work out. I let that go. But I knew at some point I'm getting back to that level over there. So I always look for opportunities. So over here for the VWAP, when I hit this level, I took the long expecting, so bounced off this level and I expected to get up near that level, right? Now I missed my short over here. Remember, I was lamenting it. Did I miss the short by $200 as the price came down? But what happened? It revisited almost immediately because it needed to actually clear that level.
You took a short
So
up there.
I shorted over here twice, but I didn't short here. And even myself, Sacred Prophet himself, visionary extraordinaire, I felt the FOMO here. And this whole time here, I was pained because I thought we were going to head all the way down to this level. And I thought I would have missed out on the trade.
Right.
But OCD price, BOCDing, and we have to get back over there. And here's the short. All right. So now, our trades for last week were just dead on. Our signals for last week. Let me just pull up the. Let's go pull this up here. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. So we talked about this over here that this was at March 24th, posted on the Monday, that we're going to head towards. This is where we're looking for the short, and we were looking for 84.9, 82.4. Those are the two first levels, and now the setup is for 76.5 and ultimately 74. So I'm curious. I'm wondering. All right, let me actually be specific here. So right now,
we still talking about last week?
No. So last week's, those were the trades we just went through. It went through all those levels exactly like we thought. It went up, and then it came down to those levels just like we thought. The trade down to 76.5 and to 74, that's not part of the weekly level. Right? The weekly level was here at 84.050. That was the weekly trade. The question now is, what are the nearest levels for the upcoming period? So we're at 2:00 right now on Sunday. We're not going to know what the final level is for this week until 8:00 tonight, but it's going to be around 86,000. This is where the weekly target is going to be, which is pretty juicy there, Peter, because that means we have potentially a 4% move upwards.
So
it's 200%.
Wait, I thought you said it's going to go down to 74.
Well, that's what I'm going to bring up. So I'm just mentioning the levels here that matter. The weekly trade will be up to 86. That'll be the target, right? But just like over here where it was the target. Second, just because over here at 87.7 that was the target before, maybe we don't get there. Right? But that is the target for the week. And I'll tweet it out specifically once the candle actually closes. 1 second here. Forgive me. I don't know what happens here. My my presenting tool stops working.
You had to restart it last time.
I restarted it, but it's still not working. What just happened? Give me a second here, Peter.
Yeah, take your time. I want to remind
You're saying
everyone-
that you've been putting this on your chart now as well?
Yeah, I got everything you gave me access to. So I have waves, I have the VWAP levels, I have hang on, let me pull this up here. Indicators, private invite only indicators. M2 Global Liquidity Index, MTF VWAP, VWAP trend, and wave.
Right.
So yeah, I'm seeing it, and as I've been watching this since last week, like I just see it bouncing in between the VWAP levels, like it says. It's almost like there's like something firm, and it just keeps bouncing on it. It's crazy.
That's like sort of the message I want to get across here. Once you're seeing why the markets are responding the way that they are, once you understand the forced buyers and forced sellers, once you're understanding the flows of liquidity, then the moves on the charts like become obvious, right? An institutional player or institutional players who have to put in millions of dollars into a position, hundreds of millions of dollars into a position, have to scale into that position,
Right.
right? And then when the price moves drastically one way or another, let's say it gets overbought like we had over here, we get this massive rise up. Well, then you're going to get people who want to sell. You're going to get people who made profit and want to lock in that profit. You're going to make people who had bets they can or long bets that they can't hold on to anymore. Options are going to expire, and if we revisited any former levels, people are going to want to sell out over there. So, for example, over here, when we got up to 108,000, and then it came down, you can imagine that a lot of people were expecting this big run up, but because it didn't happen, by the time it got back up over here to where it was before, people got tired of waiting and they're like, okay, I'm just going to get out of it. There's all these dynamics that come into play when people are trading in either retail or institutional.
Right.
All right. So just to finish off what I was saying, so for the week ahead, it looks like 86 will be the level, maybe a little bit lower. We'll see. 86 will be the level that the target level for the week. So any trade for the week that we're going to be taking this week is likely going to aim for that level. And I will tweet out the level specifically, and those who have the indicator will be able to see what it is on the chart. But right now, there are two other major levels that are nearby. So since we literally mitigated every other level, the nearest weekly level, actually the nearest daily unmitigated level. Let's just switch this to. Let me see if there's any weekly left. Let's hide drawings. Okay, so actually, I think we're done. So there's no actual. Let me just see if there's anything up here. Yeah. So you see how the nearest level now is this one over here at 74.
Yeah. Yeah.
We already cleared all the other levels. Oh, this is the other one that's missing. This level over here at 96.5. Why aren't you showing properly? Yeah, that is the level 96.5. I'll have to fix the indicator and see why it's not showing that. But let me see on the daily. Oh, it is showing over here. Okay. So this 96.5 level, and then this level at 74. Okay. These are the two things right now that are acting on the force. We cleared out a bunch of the liquidations in the middle. And so now it's sort of like balance here. Right. This is a bull flag. Oh, sorry, a bear flag. So we have this drop over here, and then we have this flag over here. So often these things resolve with the price falling at least to the level of the low before. And since I think that could happen, and we'd be nearby the 76 level or the 74 level, I think we can get to 74. But only in two circumstances. It has to happen pretty soon, because our wave level here, our yearly wave, once that yearly wave crosses the 74 level, like decisively, and right now it's at 72, that level basically gets invalidated. We're not likely to go down to that level. In the same way that we're not likely to go down to this other unmitigated level at 62, because enough volume has passed it that we won't get down to that level. We've seen this before. Over here, this was in August 2024. This unmitigated level needed to be revisited. Where did it go? Boom, revisited and left, took off. It didn't go down to this level here at 45 because we had already crossed it, right? All these other levels here were already crossed by the yearly wave. So it's done. We'll know one of the signs that we're entering into the bear market, one of the late signs entered the bear market, is that this price will drop below the yearly, confirm, and then roll over. In the same way that we saw it over here, where the price falls below the yearly level, climbs back up, confirms, and rejects. Peter, if you notice there, if the keen eye can see, it crawls back up. Why? To grab the volume weighted average price that wasn't cleared.
Right.
And when it hit literally that level, it rolled over. It's done. There's no more other levels to get. But we're not there. We're not there. In fact, what we have even still is that we have, 1 second here, liquidity on our side, the Lord of liquidity on our side. Okay?
Oh.
So as of April 7th is what I'm calling it, or the latest is what I'm seeing, we're going to get a massive rise in liquidity. Well, the liquidity has already come. It's already happened. It just takes 78 days, around 78 days, for that to flow into the Bitcoin market. So we're looking for whatever lows are happening between now, like basically whatever the lows are happening here will be the final lows. But you'll notice here that this dip that we're in is the final low here in liquidity here. Because this was a low of liquidity before, and this is a lower low in liquidity. And this represents this low over here. So the question is, do we get down to over here for the low? We might not. We might not. If wave crosses over, the yearly wave crosses over, it's invalidated. Also, if we get past April 7th and we haven't gotten down there, it's also invalidated. Although, generally speaking, these things coincide, that this will actually cross over around April 7th. That's just how it works.
Even if that lower level gets invalidated, won't we still need to get to the lowest point of the bear flag?
Not necessarily. Not all bear flags get resolved.
I see.
To the downside.
Is there any scenario where none of this down goes down and just shoots up?
Yes. If we stay... So what can happen is that the weekly trade opens up at this, the 80... What did we say is going to happen here? The 86 level. The price moves up over there to that 86 level, stays there, and we bounce around for a little bit, for enough days that the correction happens in time. Remember, corrections can happen in price or in time or both. So it might be like, oh, well, we should have a 10% correction, but that 10% correction down might happen because we ebb out. We take a lot longer to have a move than we think. And, it might happen over a few weeks. And then when that goes, it's the equivalent. Basically, all that selling that would drop the price all at once happens slowly, and it gets absorbed. And then when that selling gets absorbed, now we can get the blast off. So that's what we're going to be looking at. The daily trades have been very interesting, Peter, over the last week. I'm more and more now you're seeing revelations being put out just to talk about the daily trades that are happening during the week. Definitely stay tuned for that, because sometimes you can get these great runs, 200, 300, 400% that are happening during the week, and then have it reverse. And the overall thesis is still there, but you can make money in the interim. This is why I like high leverage trading on Bitcoin. You get this advantage of being able to, while you're ranging, while you're bouncing around, making money on each one of those bounces while you're waiting for the big move to happen. So you can double your portfolio while the price stays sideways, and then you have more Bitcoin in order to enjoy the rise when it rises up. So it's pretty cool, enjoying that. But for that, you're going to have to pay attention to my Twitter, tweeting as much as I can, as clearly as I can, and come on the revelations. That's right. If you go to Sacred Profit on X, well, even Elon calls it Twitter sometimes.
I think he's
It's fine.
obsessed. Yeah, no, I totally get it. You said your Telegram is blowing up. What was that?
So the concern here is that, hey, what if we had the cycle top and we're going to fall lower? I, I can't. I don't see any sign that that's the case. Right? We headed into March expiration, OPEX options expiration every calendar year. And I've said this again. If you hear me talk, you've heard me talk about this again and again. This is Ken Carson's idea that he's popularized. 4 times during the year, options, a bunch of options expire at the same time. What's an option? It's an insurance policy against the downside to the market. Well, what happens if a bunch of those expire? It means that people don't have this insurance against the downside. So if a catalyst does happen and the market drops, they have to chase in order to protect themselves. And you can get this massive drop within the market, this crash within the market. And that's why you'll often see crashes happen at one of these 4 periods. And it happens more often in March and the March options expiry in September, because in summer and in fall, so December and June, people are on vacation. So that's why most happens at those periods of time. So what do you need is a catalyst. What catalyst do we have now? The AI bloat. People are not certain how much do we need for AI after all. It turns out the Chinese are doing stuff. Like, I'm not sure. We already had that overhang that started in February, the DeepSeek dip, and then we had the tariffs, Trump's tariffs, which is enough for billions of dollars to come off the sidelines, going, "Hey, I'm not sure what's going on right now. Let's just wait till the tariffs thing is decided, and then we can move on." Well, what does that mean? That means uncertainty, and uncertainty in the market means volatility. Volatility means that the range of possible outcomes for the price is wider. That's what it means. Volatility means the wider spread, which means that's what causes 74,000 to be on, can happen. All right. Just yesterday on was it yesterday? Yeah, Friday. We dropped 3%, more than 3% just on Friday. So what I'm saying is not too crazy. It sounded crazy when we were up at 88, and people were like, "Tom, I think you missed it. I
You're right.
think we're going to go up." You've heard it,
Yeah,
Tom.
everybody's like,
Go
"Oh,
long.
the bull run is going. It's going to go long. Here we go." And then just yesterday, everybody was like, "You know what? You were right." They pulled a George Costanza on you.
I got all kinds of messages. Tom, you're right. Tom, you're right.
People who should know better, they were betting against it, and you're like, "Why aren't you
You
listening?"
can't buck liquidity, and you ignore the levels at your peril. At the very least, the likelihood is that we're going to pull back towards the weekly VWAP. At the very least, which is why that's the trade I keep talking about every week. You can have all kinds of things happen in the market. You can be headed up to 400,000. Doesn't matter. You're probably going to pull back to the VWAP levels. Why? Because that's how the markets are structured. So I'm looking for it. We have a doji candle right now on the daily. Let's see what happens. It's totally possible for it to fall. If it doesn't, and if we don't fall, let's say by tomorrow night, then chances are we're safe. Maybe we just get to 76. Maybe we don't even fall anymore. And from then on, I'm going to be calling for moonshots, because now, as you're seeing, the VWAP, weekly VWAP levels are above where we are right now. So we're going to head there. We're going to head there. And the likelihood that it's totally possible that we head there quickly and then roll over down. Totally possible. Absolutely possible. So we'll see. But if we close above that level, then we're off to the races, because I don't see anything else that's stopping us from ripping higher. Oh, the last thing I wanted to mention was the I don't want you that I'll show it on the revelations, but I've been sharing more and more often, and I've been talking about it, the liquidation maps for crypto, where you
Right.
get to see how people are positioned when they're leveraged. And leveraged, these are other forced buyers and sellers. When you go levered long and the price goes down too much, you get liquidated. Right? If you buy 1 Bitcoin's worth of leverage and you're leveraged 2x, if you weren't leveraged, you can hold that position until Bitcoin got to 0, right? If you're 2x leverage, Bitcoin can only drop 50% and you get liquidated.
Right.
Which 50% drop in Bitcoin happens fairly regularly. If you're 4x leverage, it can only drop by 12%. So as you get higher and higher leverage, these liquidation positions get liquidated out. And what does liquidation means? Well, when they liquidate a long position, it forces the sell of that position. When you're liquidating a short position, it forces the buys. So when you're looking at liquidation maps, you can get the sense of, is the price where the price might go? If it goes over here, then you'll get liquidated. If not, otherwise. So since the market is trying to cause the most amount of pain to the most number of people, it's already prone to go to the liquidation levels, right? When I say the market, I mean the aggregated pool of people. It's prone to go to that direction. And then when the VWAP, the weekly VWAPs match those levels, now we're even more likely to go to that level because institutions wanted to go to that level. So you have everything in the world that just clears it out, and you can. I watch it all day, every day. These levels just get cleared out and cleared out, and it accounts for the movements in the price of Bitcoin. And then when those all are cleared out, like we have right now, you get this imbalance, and I was like, okay, what do we do? Market's like, okay, what's the most pain? Do I bring everyone up to 97? Do I bring you down to 76? I don't know. Let's see. And it'll be fun to take note. The path I think happens: we fall to 76 or 74, we bounce, and then it's at that level, people go, that's it. You're gonna hear it. People that say we're at 74, they're gonna be like, we're going to 62 or whatever it is. We're gonna go to 62. Wait for that. And people are gonna be set up for shorts. They're gonna be so set up for shorts that when the price blows up to the outside, they're not even see it coming, which is exactly what happens every time. So, we'll see.
All right.
So that's it for our 10-minute Sunday Fuel, which is now 26 minutes long. But when you got stuff to say, when you have the sight, sometimes that fiery preacher comes out of you. What did you do about it?
Well, thank you for the sermon, Tom. Really appreciate it. Find Tom on X at Sacred Profit. Remember to like and subscribe. It's happening every week, folks. Every week. You don't got to look at these markets on your own. You got Tom on your side.
Perfect. All right, guys. Happy trading.